Alright, we kind of got to get underway. Because I do have a doctor's appointment today. So I will have to bail on the stream early. Not my call, but my schedule is still pretty packed for the next week or so. Yeah. I got a little lucky this weekend, though. I actually didn't expect it. It ended up being that my friend gave me his Gene Stealer Cult half. Well, there were more. His Gene Stealer Cult half of Hive Secundus. So I got some of these guys. But then, literally the day after I picked them up from him, the Malstrains went on sale separate. So we have the full squad of Malstrains. I've already pre-done the bases. This is a 50 for the leader. We actually have to grab the skulls as well. We're going to have to do some stuff with that. Then we got the 32s, because apparently Malstrain Gene Stealers are on 40s, which that doesn't work in 40k, which is annoying. Huh. Grab these skulls. But yeah, we've got work to do. Hopefully we can get some of this built before I gotta get moving. Hopefully nothing, you know, comes in and distracts me, which is completely possible. Oh god. The rapid reminder that these are very much Necromunda parts. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I gotta get my video out talking about the rules they revealed, and if there's a new article out, I gotta take a look at it. I guess I'll do that at some point in time today. The new rules sound really good. They actually do sound really good. Yeah, because it's you get 4, right? And it involves universal and faction. It was interesting because the game they showed, the people playing didn't use barricades at all. Like, they knew they had the mobility that made barricades worthless. I guess that's 5. I thought 5 looked different, but yeah. Which could be beneficial, but also, like, negative. We'll see. Because a lot of the times in the game, there was like this general sense of like, oh, well, as Felgor, I need 10 war paints, because there's no reason to get anything else. You just really, really, really want war paint. You can put war paint on everything. So why not just make war paint like the passive? Like, it just... I don't know, there were just items that became the bog standard. And you just kept seeing them over and over again, and it kind of killed the flavor between games when you're always like, well, I guess that's the guy with the grenade like usual. So maybe the revamp will help a little bit with the team building process. Do they just, when you pick grenade, does everyone have access to like the one grenade? Is that the way it works? I gotta look at it. I'm gonna have to read it tonight, add to my notes while I'm trying to figure out how to balance this audio. All new microphone recording setup. So the audio is completely different than what it should be. So I gotta figure that out. Because I also noticed that when they were talking about setting up the teams for the example game, they were like, "Oh, this team's taking the ladder," and then I didn't see the ladder anywhere, and I didn't see anyone use the ladder. So I don't know if he took the ladder because he thought it would be useful, but then ended up just not using it due to how the game played out. What's up, Jacob? It was an interesting watch. I actually re-watched it because I wanted to make sure I had everything down before doing a video on it. Oh my god, how does this... I actually don't know. How this is supposed to go. I think it's that. Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah, because I want to look at that. Because, again, the game they showed us, they use smoke grenades more than anything else, which I think are a little bit better of an option, just because it's a forced obscuring. And it obscures in a way where you at least have like a little bit of time after you do it in the next phase to stay obscured, which an issue I've always had with Kill Team is that a lot of buffs and debuffs and things that you're going to do on field vanish at the top of the next turning point, which it is very hard to play around that. So the fact that we actually have a situation where we're able to like throw a smoke grenade and expect it to last at least one activation in the following turn is a lot better. Like, a lot better. It's exactly what we needed because we need buffs and defensives to be able to last between rounds. Yeah, they made a... Didn't they make one of them closer to how the special, like, Warp Coven benefit is, where you actually pick a number and then re-roll all of that number? I kept getting confused whenever I saw, like, the older methods of like rerolls, because in my head that's how I was used to rerolling from playing Warp Coven all the time, and I assumed that's how it happened for everyone. But then I found out that that was actually very rare, and now it seems to be more standardized. Oh, stun grenades were always... Well, it depends on which one. There were actually like a couple different versions of the stun grenade prior. And I know that they had like the weird stuff attached to it that made it more problematic. It looks like you just have to roll a 3 in order to stun someone, which is pretty good. I like that they've converted Obscured to an actual like physical concept, which sounds like it happens in 2 directions, but we need to figure that out, how the wording is on it. Because they brought it up that if you're obscured to the target, they're obscured to you. So it's like you can't finagle, which was always like the big pedantic part of Kill Team, was like, oh, where do I have to stand in order to force you to not be able to hit me as I'm shooting you? And that always sucked, because new players would get caught in that all the time. Like, that was miserable for new players. And now that they're like, nah, man, if you're obscured to me, I'm obscured to you, and that's a bit better, especially since obscuring is just damage reduction, which means you don't get the benefit of just being like active, moving around, and just being an asshole without getting shot. They want you to get shot at, even if it kind of sucks, like how you're getting shot at. Like, can't crit, have to discard a normal hit. That's pretty powerful. Guns like the Melt-A-Gun will still be able to handle its stuff in that situation, but like for the most part, obscuring is defensive enough that it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Although, I will say, I am interested in the units that negate obscuring. I'm interested to see like how they play out in all of this. Okay, how does this go? Because if the Wormblade like sniper, and I think there's like 2 other snipers that do this, and the Phobos team too. The Phobos team has the anti-obscure function, or at least had the anti-obscure function. Like, what are we gonna get out of them? It's still an extremely powerful concept that they can stand in a position where it's very hard for you to shoot back at them without losing a ton of damage. And I mean, the inability to crit is huge as well in that situation. But it still begs the question, like, what are we going to see at the end game of this with all the different teams? Yes, we haven't heard otherwise about snipers. They had a sniper on the field, I thought, with the other team. Didn't they? They referred to something else as silent and needing silent, but they had a sniper, and I thought the sniper fired. I can't remember if he had to pull him out of engage or conceal, but that could also be that that sniper doesn't have silent. So I need 1, 2, and 3. It's just one of those things where we have to see the cards at this point. Which is weird, because there's a Kill Team tournament coming up at the local store for me, and I think it's before the new rules drop. So, like, it's going to be odd playing at a tournament for Kill Team, knowing the rules are changing. Haven't read the article yet. I literally just woke up and then went live. Because I have a doctor's appointment later. And I really wanted to get some good build time in today. We're talking about it, though. Apparently it's about equipment and how it works. Let me get this clipped out, and then I can take a look at it. We can take a look at it. We have the power. We have the technology. Put that there, and then last little leg here. Working on some Malstrains. Yeah. Alright. Hopefully this mic is good. I had to redo it and rebalance it and change. It doesn't have the compressor on it currently because it made it really quiet. So hopefully it doesn't get like too peaky for you guys. Okay. Soar above the kill zone, blow it all up. New universal equipment. Full screen. Let me make sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Can I really drop some barbed wire and mines in front of my hapless friends? First, everyone's favorite portable day runner grenades. If you've ever loaded up a favorite operative with crack grenades and watched him get blown to bits, you'll know that heartbreak from the equipment. These tokens, the new edition, ensures you'll never lose out on some vital equipment again. Instead of spending equipment points to outfit individual miniatures, you'll now select up to 4 pieces of equipment for your entire team from a universal set. Options unique to your kill team. Anyone can be lucky, lad. Oh, okay, so it good and bad here. I did like putting the grenade on an individual because then it could make them a threat. Oh god, yeah, we're still waiting for them. Although they said nothing through the end of the year, so sadly the idea of it coming out over the holiday and me spending thousands of dollars over Christmas on Emperor's Children for myself as a Christmas present, that's out the window, I think. But yeah, instead of spending equipment points to outfit individuals. So you pick it and it's now a team-based thing. It's fine. Get 2 choices, explosive and utility. Former are pretty self-explanatory. You can choose 2 frags. For soft things, 2 cracks. For hard things, 1 of each. Yeah. Utility grenades cover smoke and stun. You'll get either smoke or stun. Barricades. So like we saw this in action. The Imperial Guard player had the utility grenade selection as well as an explosive grenade selection. They had both running because both teams use smoke, and then I know they threw, I think one of them threw a crack grenade at someone. Barricades get spruced up with 2 new options alongside heavy walls. Heavy barricades, which to me is interesting because of the Votan. The Votan can upgrade a basic barricade to a heavy. But does that translate to this? Or is there something else going on? Are solid structures that can hide operatives effectively, give them the best cover, while portables can be picked up. Oh my god, the ones that we have basic might be portables now, which is hilarious. Objective grabbers. Because if you have enough APL, you could, I guess, with the lugger, because I think the lugger currently gets a free mission action. He could run up to the mission point, throw down one of these barricades in front of him, and then capture the point. That could work. That could be funny. But then, of course, it sounds like you select any of these, and then they're just you get one use out of it, but it could be on anyone. So like it causes a lot of strategic interest, right? So it's going to be less on equipping a unit to try to get your opponent to counter it, and more on picking the items to make your opponent kind of afraid that any of your guys can use it. No, yeah, grenades are worth it. They've always been worth it. It's just they're worth it in a different way now, is the thing. Because you don't have to worry about it. Which also means your opponent can't really focus on it as well. It's going to be more like... So what I used to do is I would put, against my friend when he was playing squishy teams, I would put a frag grenade on a guy who I would place specifically in areas where my friend could not get to that area, like right away, but he needed to be in that area for missions. So he had to make a call on who he would put in that area to try to like stop me. So he would usually not put as much power in the area as he really wanted to. All because I just had a guy who was standing there with specifically a frag grenade. And sometimes he would try to position things in a way to be able to kill the guy with the frag grenade without touching me or without letting him get up there. So there was like an advanced strategy to having specific equipment on specific people. But this method will just kind of universally help everyone without really the ability for people to counterplay things. Either that or the other way is going to happen, where if you have to assume that everyone on the enemy team has like frag grenades and like you get 2 frag grenades before the end of the game, you have to play like everyone has a frag grenade. So if you're a squishy team, you cannot have anything within 2 inches of each other, like at all, anywhere on the table. Whereas before, if you knew the frag grenade was on one side of the table, that was the side you did the no one within 2 on. The other side could have everyone packed in and you didn't care. So now it's like, it's a little bit different. Oh yeah, this needed to change for the reduction, because from what I understand, the 4 slots involve team-based gear, which if you consider teams like the Void-Scarred Corsairs, who one of the players said he was really looking forward to playing after seeing their information, the Void-Scarred Corsairs, usually you would always take the Mist Field on the leader for the Invulnerable. You would take the Lodestone Helmet for the caster, so that he could easily just cast multiple times without issue. And then you still had access to good things, like the scope enhancement, I think, and the cloak for the sniper. So it's gonna be a little interesting to see like what the new equipment loadouts, setups, and concepts mean, especially for teams like the Felgor, where grenades and war paint were actually very useful. Also, if we're talking about universal equipment, things like the Gellerpox now become interesting, because the Gellerpox have 3 units on the field who use frag grenades currently. What's that going to look like in the next rules edition? Is the fact that 3 of them are on the field going to unallow me from picking grenades as an option? Or, since the grenades are universal, can my Hulks throw grenades? It's all very peculiar. There's got to be stuff built in, I think, where maybe for the Gellerpox, we're going to see a situation where those guys have the 3 frag grenades, but then faction rule, you cannot pick grenades. Yeah, and pests. Well, you could pick up to 4 pests on average. Maybe you're just not allowed to use equipment from the pool if you play Hulks, which kind of sucks because I would love to use heavy barricades with them. Yeah, Hearthkin Salvagers is also a big thing. You can grab 1 or either of your equipment selections or 2 of the regular light. One of either or 2 of the regular. So you can go heavy, portable. So you can either grab a heavy or a portable or take 2 lights. Mission with conceal orders now, ensuring that everyone is nestled behind. Oh, everyone has to start in conceal. I heard someone say that that everyone at turn 1 can become engaged. But like, I didn't see that said in the video. Like, someone on Reddit was like, oh yeah, everyone can switch out of conceal in turn 1. And it's like, that sounds weird because the Wormblade, that's like a big thing for them. And I think there's another army that gets like a huge benefit. Was it Orcs? Was it the Commandos? Oh no, Commandos can just charge and conceal, so conceal didn't really matter to them. Ensuring that everyone is nestled behind cover is more important than ever escape a first turn barrage. With all of operators starting the mission with conceal orders. Ensuring that everyone... If you need your marksman to climb a vantage point but don't have to waste pretty... Yeah, ladders are the gift that keeps on giving. Place one next to a raised platform and your operative only spend a single inch. That's nice. So this is probably the new climbing gear. Climbing gear might be single inch now, which would be good. Free to get busy. Position with a hole. PL free. Wait, letting them zip up with a hole. I mean, this is probably because you usually have to dash. Of course, if you'd rather prevent people from moving around, opt simply for razor wire. 38 millennia of wartime ingenuity still haven't overcome how annoying because it's climb sharp spools. Opponent's operatives will need to spend double the movement getting over it. Oh, double movement? That's ridiculous. So yeah. So I'm guessing they say portables, which I'm guessing are these. Because these look portable. Like they look like you're supposed to put them down and extend them. So the old barricades are portable. These look like light. These look like heavy. Of course, ladder, grenade tokens so that you can kind of know what's going on, what you have access to. I still don't know what the Voxcom is. Of course, we have the ladder. These are ammunition, I believe. This is supposed to be the ammunition that you can get balanced from when you stand near it. I think. Landmines, which will probably have to be placed pre-game. Barbed wire, same thing. Smoke grenades, of course, symbolically being on the field to be like, oh, this is going to last this turn. So I feel like you need one of these per player. Or am I crazy? Because it sounds like you almost have to have this for the two deployables or the two lights. It sounds like you could take two smokes, so you need that. It's a little weird for the box itself. All right, Chase. Two times light barricades, designed to be lugged in place and deployed. Operatives and combat engineers. These barriers are proof against small arms fire. Light barricades are light terrain. Before the battle, you can set them up. So before. So it's not carry in place. It's just before battle, you can set them up wholly within your territory. Or on the kill zone floor and more than 2 inches from other equipment. Terrain feature. Wait. You can set them up on any of them wholly within your territory on the kill zone floor. So you can only do your territory. Question is, territory. I'm guessing it's going to be the same as where we went eventually, where half of no man's land is your territory. So you have like your deployment zone and your territory as like two separate things. No, it could be. We'll have to find out. But like, okay. So this talks about the universals. They're not really going into too much information compared to what they said in the game, like the actual game, where they talked about you having 4 options. So you have 4 options, and then there's a card that I think gives you a 5th. So the one person had 2 sets of grenades. The question is whether or not, if you pick one of these, if it takes up 2 equipment slots. Or if it just takes up 1 and you get 2 grenades. Because the Aquilin, I know, used 2 grenades. I think he used 2 crack grenades. And he used 2 smoke. No, he used 1 smoke, 1 stun. But there's a nature to it. Of like, I can't remember what else he equipped. I can't. So I don't know if he actually equipped his own personal equipment as well. Oh no, he had a ladder too. He used a stun on someone, so he definitely had the utility. I'm pretty sure that they talked about how him having a crack grenade was actually a scary prospect. So he would have had one set of each grenades and then maybe a ladder. Because he did say he had a ladder, I think. I wonder if we're going to get the rules for the characters and, like, team equipment is 2 or 3 items. I wonder if they're trying to whittle it so that you mostly want to use these and not so much team equipment. Because, like, these do kind of cover a lot of things. Smoke grenades, some teams had them, some teams didn't. They were really good for the teams that had them, but now everyone has them. And ammo boxes for the balanced minefields. Like, a lot of this feels a lot like, oh, we're trying to retool stuff. So the big question is, this is the biggest question, Hearthkin Jaegers, Space Marine Scouts. Both of those teams have options that allow them to pre-game set up extra things like traps and stuff. What is that going to look like in 2.5? Are they going to completely redo those team abilities to be like, oh, well, everyone's getting them and we don't really want to overwhelm people with setup? So you're getting a new ability. You're getting new benefits or something. Like, we'll have to figure it out. Yeah, reposition, which is 3 inches within your deployment zone, I think, or something along that line. Free strat ploy, which is really powerful for some teams, and an extra equipment point, which I wrote down. Again, trying to get a video together, but whole new room, whole new setup, whole new need to balance my microphone. So I gotta go over that today. Once I'm done the doctor's appointment, I'm gonna come back here, record a bunch of stuff, and then test out my old voiceover modulation stuff to see if I need to make any adjustments, what I need to change, stuff like that. Because it took me like an hour and a half yesterday to try to rebalance it so that you don't hear like weird background noise when I talk. And I think it might still be there. I just can't hear it right now. But yeah, let's get back to building Malstrains, because we gotta do that. Happy fun time with Malstrains. We got Malstrains. We got the brain ticks. I'm kind of interested in building the brain tick guys. Brain tick guys sound cool. Like, it's so wild to think every question they answer leaves more questions. Because it almost feels like they're forgetting certain bespoke teams and the rules those teams had. So when they tell us the new rules, it's like, wait a second. What happens with this team? What happens with this team's stuff? What's the reason for that? Like, it just starts sounding really weird. Like, honestly, I think Phobos might be in a much more interesting position now, because if everyone has smoke grenades and the Phobos just passively can see through that and you can't obscure against them still, that's actually gonna be really cool. Because it's literally a team that makes you not want to take smoke grenades, but they themselves could take 2 smoke grenades, which is really good. Especially since they last now. Because as it stood, what you would do with Phobos with their smoke grenades is you would throw one down in the middle of the field and then run someone into it to start shooting at people. And then you would hope that you get the initiative in the next round. Also, what is it? I think, did they say you get to pick? Whoever wins initiative picks who goes? Because there's actually a downside to it. if you went first in the prior round and then you go first again in the following round or something, by winning it in a roll, you like don't get a command point. It's a little bit closer to like AOS rules, basically. Back this out a little. But yeah, it could be cool. So my local store has a tournament for Kill Team next weekend. There's no way the rules come out beforehand. I'm imagining it's more of a like, hey, just to remind everyone, Kill Team is getting a rules update. If you're interested in Kill Team, you know, maybe keep an eye out. So I can't imagine we're getting them too soon. Maybe if we go there, they're going to hand us, like, preview cards. That'd be the ideal. I doubt it'll happen, but that'd be great. Come back home, get some pictures of the cards, start talking to you guys about it. Check out what I got. I'm trying to figure out which team I should take, though. I know I'm a Warp Coven main, so I kind of want to play Warp Coven. But at the same time, I have Hearthkin, and I've always wanted to play Hearthkin. I'm pretty sure they won't win. But I think they'd be fun to like get one game in as. Although Wormblade. Either way, I gotta pick a team soon and start like really diving into their rules and updates and stuff. Make sure I got it all down pat. Because yet again, I am playing currently 40k, AOS, Underworlds, and Kill Team. So there are rules overlap moments, but not a lot. Six and 9. Nice. We have two different head choices, which is good. So I'm going against my better judgment, and I'm actually putting the little floating brain ticks on their bases, and we are taping off the flight stands. That way we can still paint them. I realized I had to get more black primer. We have a Biophagous on the way. I ordered it a little while ago. Which means my entire Genestealer Cult update for the Codex will be done. It'll all be complete, which is fantastic. I can finally start getting some games in with them if I feel like it. Stick with my Soulforged. Occasionally pull out the Thousand Suns. It was interesting seeing the Team World tournament thing that went on with War Games Live, because there was a Thousand Suns player there who played the first list I ever made for the Thousand Suns. It was a list I just wanted to put together and try out, and I thought it worked pretty well, and then I never went back to it. And this guy played it instead at a world tournament and apparently did really well with it. It was the Thousand Sun Artillery list, where they don't focus on Cabal points, and instead they have like a bunch of Forge Fiends, some Mutalists, and Magnus. And it's just the hardest hitting list you've ever seen. The whole focus is on giving Magnus like the full rerolls, just so he can have them. And then just start slamming people to death with spells, basically. You don't even really care about double move or armor strip or nothing. You're just hitting people with like 3 damage abilities and spells and just plasma. Just letting the extremely high damage guns do all the work. Oh my god, I hate this. I hate this so much. Dude, Malstrains, oh my god. The fact that they want you to put this hand like this and to a situation where it's supposed to like fit perfectly like this, where the hand is like bumping into the other arm and just being like weirdly positioned. Oh my god, dude. If ever you need a reminder that Necromunda frickin' sucks to build, let this be that. It's gonna be so worth it though. I'm gonna make these guys glow a little bit. Normally the team that I'm running has like the paint on them, like the fluorescent paint to look like almost, how do I put it? Almost like spray paint. Like graffiti. I think what I want to do with these guys is kind of close to that, but not quite. I want to make them look radioactive, so we'll be using probably the green paint as kind of like an edge highlight almost. Are there other Malstrain gene stealers in the plans here? No? I could have swore there was a Malstrain that looked different to what I'm seeing. Brood Scum. Yeah, this doesn't feel right. Why are there only 3 Malstrains? Yeah, but I feel like I saw a picture of one standing on like 2 pipes, right? I could have swore that was one of them, where it looked very different. I don't know. Like on the boxed picture of the ones I bought, there seemed to be one just completely different from the rest. Yeah. This was not a good purchase idea, by the way. I really should have just like bought a Brood Lord and another squad of Gene Stealers. This was like double the cost what I just did here. Although I got the cool Brain Ticks. I'm actually really happy with the Brain Ticks. I'm going to use them as Psychic Familiars and stuff. I'm going to use them to demark when something has an ability that's a one-off, like the one-time revive. That my Abominants get. They'll have that. I might use it for the Biophagus instead of the little Greg he gets. I'll probably put one next to my Iconarch to denote that I have the one-off ability to move one of the tokens. Poggers. see which heads we can pick. 10 or 11. So one will get 10, one will get 11. What? Why? What? Were you just trying to, like, make some Dark Eldar squads that looked interesting? I don't think Hand of the Archon are bad. I just don't hear enough about them. I'm hoping the rules changes maybe spruces them up a little bit. Specifically because it lets you be more aggressive. Like, the issue I had with Hand of the Archon when my friend played them was it felt like they all wanted to be in your face, but if they were all in your face, they weren't doing the mission. So it just felt like there was so much waste on the team of like, why is this unit here? Well, what's the point? What's the point in this guy? It's a giant Greg. Well, at least you have all the options. Got all the heavy weapons. Can take all the leader types. Two down. So many more to go. So I'm guessing these are the same, which means I probably should have been building off of this as well. At least I know which pieces go where. The thing is, I don't need them all, because it's a 10-man squad, and then you need one to look like the Patriarch. Which means maybe not this one, because one of these says it has 3 heads. And one of them's a ridiculously huge head, so I'm guessing we can run that one as the Patriarch. So this one's probably fine to run. So 3 bodies, one that has 3 heads. At which point it's 2, 4. Brood Brothers felt when they got released kind of like a phone-in a little bit. Nobody really buys that box of Genestealer cult leaders for anything other than that Patriarch. Because there's no reason to. I mean, it's not that great of a box. Rules-wise, they seem fine, though. I still prefer Wormblade, but that's like me. I prefer Wormblade. That's all. I think Wormblade are cool. Brood Brothers felt a little bit more like Hyrotech, which, I mean, there's validity there to play it that way. That's fine. It shouldn't really bother anyone. But, like, I already have Hyrotech. I also already have Warp Coven, which plays very similar to Hyrotech as well. Although I will say the kind of one ability they have to take control of one of your units, that sounds super appealing, because it makes it very difficult for you to build into them as an enemy without also building into yourself. A very unique, very powerful function. But still, Wormblade. You get to pick 2 of 4 assassins, so you can kind of adapt your list. The Talon has gotten so powerful in that list. Oh, his abilities are just way too good. He is probably one of the best melee in all of Kill Team, outside of like Hulks, specifically the Lumberghast. He is just way too good. He is completely tuned to be very good as well. You can kill something, dash into cover, do it all from stealth. What is he? He's like he was lethal hit 4 or something, and the damage he puts out is way too good. No, yeah, they have more function, I think. The trick with Wormblade is, and again, new rules are going to be great for him. It feels like they didn't really have a lot of reason to constantly send the fodder out, outside of just like capturing once and then calling it a day. But now that there's nothing behind you to deal with, and I'm really happy with how the rules for points gain changed. It looks like it's capped 2 points per thing you have active. You get to pick 1 general mission, 1 hidden mission, you have the core mission, and then the kill op mission, right? So those are all your point like functions. Kill op, I guess you can get points based on just the kill op, so you can get as many as you can get. Your own personal mission, it looks like you can only get 2 of per turn. The main mission, which is usually just some kind of point holding, it's hold 1, hold more. So you can get 2, and if you push hard enough, you can deny your opponent 1. So that's cool. And then secret missions, which seem to just be multipliers of like other missions. I'm not too sure how they work. It sounds like you get 2 or 3 points on them based on how well you do. But now what we're going to have is a situation where like all the fodder is completely valid to just rush up the field and sit on points and be like, you got to come to us, bro. And all you need is just a freaking sniper, or maybe a Talon or something, or even a Keller Morph just hanging out nearby to be like, yo, once you move up, it's over for you. I'm putting an end to that, and I'm doing it from the safety of distance. 8 inches on pistols now? That's really cool. Although there's probably still going to be some short-range pistols, because there were characters in the game that had extremely powerful pistols that were like 3-inch range. Those might go up to like 4 or 5. Maybe 6. Maybe those will be the short-range ones. Super powerful 6-inch guns. What was it? I think the Locust had a 3-inch silent. Vane from the Elysidians had a 3-inch indirect gun. We'll still get a 6, I imagine. I think we're still getting a 6-inch team. I don't, or a 6 unit. Jesus, talking about pistol ranges. 6-person team. I don't think much is going to change there. The question is whether or not we actually get a Justian team, because they did say that like most of the bespoke teams are coming up. And when you say something to that effect of like, oh, most of them will be here, there's always that sense of like, well, who's not going to be here? Which one is it? Who you removing? And in my opinion, Justian would probably be top on the chopping block, because Justian, you have to get lucky to purchase. Now, alternatively, because all the rules are going free and online, you could just custom build your Justian and be fine. Because Justian's actually kind of cool. I like them a little bit. Like they're fun. They're closer to how the Warp Coven and the Hyrotech work. Just not completely. They have their own flavor to them, which is nice. But I don't think... So, going forward with Kill Team, the thing we've been noticing every single time a new chapter, a new rule set comes out, things we've noticed is that the core of how they apply those teams is it's mostly one box from 40k, because they want to be able to sell the Kill Team box in 40k once Kill Team is like done with it, right? Like once they hit market saturation on the Scorpions, they want Aldari players to be like, okay, we need this now. And then, you know, the Aldari players get the rest. Same thing with the Jaegers. Jaegers are a new introduction to a team from 40k that didn't have a lot of unit types, and now they have a new unit type. Kill Team basically put it out in front of them and went, here you go, boys. And all the Votann players went, finally, new stuff. So now they have new stuff. And it's cool. So I think Kill Team is going to exist as an introductory situation for a lot of units from 40k. Basically season to season. Because we look at the first new teams from this season. It's going to be a new type of Tempestus. Right? Like the Aquilans? Aquilians? I think it's Aquilans. I keep wanting to call them Aqualions. Aqualion. Like a Pokemon. It's the Aquilans and the Vespids. So it's the introduction of a new unit and a revamped unit. So that's what we're going to be getting going forward. Teams you can use in 40k. That's all. Which is perfectly valid. What up, Arturo? But because of that, you have to assume that everything coming out is going to have to be able to be purchased as a full squad. So when you think of like extremely adaptable, almost legionary style Space Marine squads, and you're like, oh, well, we get one of those. I don't know, because Space Marines don't really have that, right? So I highly doubt, unless they plan on releasing some kind of like really cool Space Marine unit with like great adaptability, almost like, what is it? It was a Kill Team. It was one of the Death Company things. It was like Kill Team something. Although that would be wild because that team has like a Terminator and a guy on a bike in it. So I don't know if we're getting them. Sounds very unlikely. Build these Malstrains, baby. Malstrains are love. Malstrains are life. Sucks that I have to put them on different bases than the Necromunda ones, because now I can't really use them in Necromunda. Oh, thanks for swinging by, man. Hopefully I can get a video out soon. Just gotta get my audio balanced here. New audio setup always causes problems that you have to figure out and deal with. So that's what we're doing. Sure this neck is centered. There we go. Three Malstrains. I need to think. 3, 6, 9. I don't want to do. Because we're down one, right? Because it's going to be 3 of each of 4, I think, right? No. Gene Stealer 2, Gene Stealer 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the same number, so it should be 12 total, which means we don't need 1. And I kind of want it to be this one. I do. I can go get one. Much larger. The problem is the base. I knew I was going to have an issue with this. We're going to have to figure out what to do. Because the issue is these are meant for 40s. And they need to go on 30s. So I think there's going to be some overhang. Which I do not like. But it happens. No. The Tamiya, it didn't hold. So yeah. This is a different glue that I use to put things down. Yeah. I mean, the standard, standard gene stealers are massive for overhang. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't just put gene stealers on 40s. Because if they just put gene stealers on 40s, I could use the standard bases. Like, these are the bases they're supposed to go on. Get the focus going again. These are the standard bases that they're supposed to have. And on it, dude, with how these things attack, like Gene Stealers hit so hard in Gene Stealer Cult. I don't know if it's the same in Tyranid. I saw someone on one of the forums kind of mocking the Tyranid for their damage output comparatively to Gene Stealer Cult damage output. And it's like, oh, that's weird. I never even thought to myself, like, for 1 second that the Tyranid version might be worse than the Gene Stealer Cult version. But, like, maybe. I don't know. I have to look at it. Let's get maybe 4 of the next one, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, we have to do 4 of the next one. This is the first one. 15 and 16. Because Biosanctic, right? I play Biosanctic, which means if I charge you, I get +1 attack. They get 4 attacks total. They are a 10-man squad. So 4 on charge, 5. So 50 attacks. Hitting on, I think, 3s. They come with AP and it. Oh my god, dude. They're so strong. So the main one that they get, well, Biosanctic being kind of a big one. But I think they also get access. They get the Patriarch. I know that. I don't know if they can take another leader type. 18, 19. I think we'll do piece by piece on this one. We'll do the arms first. So we can at least try to get through the 4 sets. So the leader gives them dev wounds. They also get infiltrate, I want to say. Which is really good. And then move and charge. Which I guess, if that's the same, then yeah. But the Patriarch gives them dev wounds. Which I can't imagine a Broodlord wouldn't give dev wounds. Right? Like, he should give dev wounds. But the Biosanctic +1 attack might be kind of like the clinch right there as to like why it's better. I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure the extra AP drop only provides benefit for shooting. So the extra AP probably doesn't help melee. From like crossfire function. I know Biosanctic has a really good benefit for the leader too. That's the whole thing. You take the one Patriarch and then you take one of the enhancements for him, which I think is like +1 to his AP and damage. Which, I mean, that's a horrifying prospect. Oh, did you see that they're starting to maybe reassess how allies work by providing like different points costs? My buddy was talking about how the agents have different points costs based on like allyship versus being in your own army, which, yes, you're going to get way more benefit from being within your own detachment than anything else. But he said it was because I think they cost more, right? Like, they cost more to go into an army that isn't theirs. And it might be because their abilities work with those armies. Which, I mean, that's a horrifying thing. When you can give an army a benefit that they don't normally get. I think I cut... Did I cut the wrong one? 16... No, that was the right one. I was gone all weekend. 4-day weekend at my friend's house where we hung out and talked. Played video games. Tried to play a tabletop game. I got my first game of AOS in on Friday. Where I found out that Fold Reality is the MVP spell of the game. Like, oh my god. Pick unit. deep strike unit. Like, just placing flamers next to key targets and then just shooting flamers at them. It's freaking hilarious. Getting a big brick of blue horrors and teleporting them onto the middle point. Turn 1. I lost, but it was mostly because I didn't quite fully understand the points. Like, I lost by a little bit. And I gave him turn 1, basically, was the issue. And I couldn't hold other points because we didn't have enough on the field. So we were just kind of like rotating, gaining points every single time. But he had a pretty big start because he actually had a really good turn 1 versus me, who didn't. I still was able to score on pretty much all the core objectives, and my Kairos ability came in handy. Because one of the objectives was to hold both short table edges to like have someone within range of it. It's like an easy one to get. So I just had both my birds on each side of the map, just kind of hanging out, and then I did it twice. Because Kairos lets you do one you've already done again. Once a game. So I just guaranteed that. I also screwed up. I tried to do the assassinate a general squad thing, and I threw everything I had at killing one of the units, and it just did not work. Like, I tried to alpha strike that unit, and he was making every save humanly possible. I just couldn't do it. I gotta get some tokens together, though. Freaking, I gotta track burning. I had so many squads burning on the field within a very short period of time. Phone call. I'm back. Let's try to get all this done. So all trimmed up. And down here we look. How does this go? Is it this? I think it's this. Their hand positions are so stupidly weird. I'm gonna have to go microwave some food. Kinda hungry. Refocus this camera too. We're gonna get the hands, the wrists in, and I'm gonna go start making food. Did I miss? No, there it is. This is the wrong hand. But yeah, the equipment information sounds pretty good. I'll probably bring it up in the video I can hopefully record here soon, once I get the audio together. We're going to try to do it without it being like a pure script. We're going to try to do just like cliff notes and then record the audio. That doesn't always work with me. Usually I need a little more direction for the videos, so I make sure to get like fun points and like cool little statements and stuff in, as opposed to just getting like super mechanical and kind of droning and all that. Hopefully my biophagus is here in a couple days. Where the hell did these go? What's this arm like? I think I figured it out. Dude, I hate that these hands couldn't have just been part of the overall. Like, why? Like, why are we glowing at the wrist? This feels like the worst way possible to build these models. Just being like, oh yeah, let me glue the hand on at the wrist. That'll work. I don't see how this could go bad at all. I got the feeling we're gonna get to the gangers, the frickin' scum, and it's gonna be like, glue this collar on. I'm gonna be so mad. The little bug heads seem fine. I mean, you have to glue two halves together, which is still a little bad, but like, it's not the worst. You just glue them together and call it a day. It's great. We're gonna have way more than we need to. I might go grab some 32s and glue some of the heads to the 32s. Which I think I have some 32s. Because I was debating using a couple heads as psychic familiars and then a couple heads as markers for incoming unit types. Because how many do we get per squad? Termite heads 1 and 2. Looks like you get 4 per squad. Which means I'd have 8 total. I have 6 here. 2, 4, 6, 7. I have 7 here. And I don't think I need that much. Abominant, Biophagus, Icon Ward, Patriarch. So 4. Which means I can technically do 4 32s. As markers for stuff returning. Well, that's out of the question on that one. Maybe just 3. Since I actually hard glued these down, I don't think I can break them off properly without shattering them. Ooh, we got one. Word. So we have these two 32s. I should have 2 more I can go grab. We'll do that in a minute. We don't need to worry about the brains just yet. So yeah, there's either this weekend I might get only to 1 event, which is fine. As long as I get 1 in. There's a Spearhead tournament Sunday and an Underworlds tournament Saturday. I'm going to try to get to one of them. I don't really care which one. I mean, I prefer Underworlds because I feel like my team can actually do work in Underworlds. But Spearhead, I gotta do what I can do. There's gonna be like 4 night haunt. I can guarantee it. And it's gonna suck. I need to go get food. So I'm gonna start microwaving one. And I'll be back in a minute. food. Spicy beef. Oh, I needed to cool. I needed to cool so much. It's so hot. How are we looking at? 12, 13, 14? So Space Marine 2 is apparently out, what, today? For if you ordered it for $100. Yeah, no. I'll wait till Monday. I think all my friends have said they're waiting for Monday as well. They're not paying $100 to play it over a weekend. It's good to see THQ take on... actually, no, Focus. It's good to see Focus taking on very Ubisoft ways of putting games out. Where's 13 and 14? Oh, there's 14. I wonder which executive, like, I wonder who told them that that was a good idea. Like, it almost feels like there's nothing that causes more ill will from a player base than being like, hey, if you want to pay us like $40 extra, you can get it 5 days early. Like, it's one of those things, man. It's just one of those bad practices. Because technically in PvP, it might be pay to win, just because you get a 5-day head start over people so that you have more stuff by the time they actually get into the game. So when they're hopping into PvP and they've got like the basic gear, you're just in there with like a melt-a-gun running around killing them all. I am hoping it's a good game, because my friends and I have been playing First Descendant heavily. And they got real excited when the Season 1 information got announced. They're like, oh, cool, there's going to be like seasonal buffs and stuff, and you'll make adjustments to your builds based on all that. That's great. And then it came out, and it's not good. It's just... it's so basic and so bland. The daily missions are just solo and boring. I think my friend's at least a little happy that we managed to defeat Gluttony before they nerfed him. Because apparently the way they're planning on doing things is for every big boss they release in the sequence, the prior bosses are all going to be nerfed, so that people can get through the prior bosses to get to the new boss, and then have to deal with the new boss for a while. So there's a lot of planned nerfs for Gluttony upon release of whatever that new boss is that has like the two faces. And he really wanted to kill Gluttony at like full power. That way it feels like he actually is part of a group that's like, oh yeah, we were able to do that. And we did it. We actually farmed him one night, 3-man. We get a pub every now and then that, like, wasn't completely dumb. But yeah, with where that game's going and where it is now, I don't know how much longer they're going to be interested in playing it. So, like, hopefully Space Marine 2 is good, so I can at least have something to boot up every now and then. Get, like, a co-op fight in. Level up my different characters. Probably gonna go heavy weapons guy first, and then I might go into Phobos second. Get a really big swing between the two play modes. Super heavy long range. Super light close range. Close eye on the time. We have about an hour. Doubt we're gonna get done today, which is fine. Where do the legs go for this? This is weird AF looking. anywhere. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Like, at no point does this feel like, here we go. I mean, this is the closest we got. I don't know if that's even right. Maybe the other leg goes on easier. It does not. Spoilers. I'm pretty sure it's low to the ground squat, though, is what I'm seeing over here in the how to build stuff. Beta Decima's grown on me after they changed a couple things. I still feel like people with fly are super powerful in Beta Decima. And the big thing is, how do we feel about Beta Decima going forward? The assumption is we're not losing battlefields, right? Like, I feel like maybe, just maybe, the new rules are going to be completely viable with old battlefields. It actually improves close quarters, I think, although we're going to need a revamp of the close quarters missions. We actually need a revamp of pretty much all the missions, I feel like. We're going to need revamps across the board because you only get 3 objectives, and I think that's very important. So they're going to need to revamp beta. They're going to need to revamp close quarters, and then I think what we're getting now is already the revamp of open, right? So we do need revamps of everything. But with Beta Decima, I feel like there's value because the whole thing is that Beta Decima, when you're on the top floor, people on the bottom floor are obscured. They had to then change the wording to untargetable. So do they change it back to obscured and go with the new obscuring rules, which I think might feel a bit better when you're attacking each other in that game? Because if you're going to shoot from top to bottom or bottom to top, there's that nature of like, oh, there's downside to this, right? Like, you're in a very defensive position up there, which is good. I think that maybe that might work out. Alternatively, they go, hey, open terrain, yes, there's new stuff. Close combat, we have a couple things we've thrown in as like stuff you can do if you want to do close combat. But we basically we gotta wait for Beta Decima's information. Beta Decima might be like a later release for rules. They might be trying to work some stuff out with it. It'll be annoying, and I'm absolutely certain people are going to pick up on this on YouTube and put out the Everything's Over videos that we love seeing so much. If they don't do anything with Beta Decima. Because if they don't, then they're basically just negating a full rule set. Phone call. What kind of sucks is that the Patriarch's going to look like the rest of the Malstrains, but he's going to be on a bigger base with more skulls. We might be able to do some fun little aesthetic things with that. But we'll have to see. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a chance Beta Decima's going away with the new launch. Like, you'll be able to use it as terrain, but it won't have Beta Decima rules. Which, I mean, that's going to kind of suck. I mean, after a whole season. Like I said, if it happens, you're going to see a ton of YouTube videos bringing up how obnoxious it is that Games Workshop created a rule set and then made the rule set disappear within, like, a half a year time. About, I think it's like almost a whole year since it came out. It's been about a whole year. (2017). And then 21 and 22. We'll do the heads as well at this step. Personally, I probably would have bought Beta Decima. I was actually thinking of doing it because my local store had it for a bit. And I was like, let me grab it. Just the battle zone, personally. Like, I wasn't really super worried about anything else. They did sell out of it the day I was thinking of getting it, though. Like, literally, I was driving there, and I was like, yeah, we'll get it today. Walked in the store, not there. Maybe it saved me, I don't know. But one of the cool benefits to that battle zone is that it's catwalks. And I really like the idea of catwalks in Kill Team. Catwalks apply a really fun two-staged vantage point, non-vantage point with mobility concept. It also provided people with climbing gear and like grapnel launchers and stuff. It provided them a benefit. Oh, dude, Xenos Train would be great. When they showed off the Beta Decima trailer, I could have swore we saw what looked like Eldar or Tau frickin' architecture in the trailer. Felt like it, at least. So I had a kind of an assumption there, like it was going to be jungle plus Aldari terrain or something, which would have been really cool. It could have been the introduction to area terrain that Kill Team could have used, where you have like woods areas that have like different rules based on whether you're in it or out of it, and whether or not someone like charges into it or something. Could have been an actually really cool concept. And then they were like, oil rig. And I just had a question mark above my head, just staring at it like, huh? What's this? And then we actually got the technically the jungle terrain rules in a white dwarf. And it's not that interesting. It's just a random effect that occurs over the course of the entire match. Like what was it? It was like carnivorous plant life or something, where if you end a turn within range of like terrain, you have a chance at taking a mortal wound or something. There was like vine traps where your barricades were no longer barricades. They were like an area effect, like half movement speed or something. Like it was weird. There's a lot of good Warcry terrain sets. There's a lot of good AOS terrain sets. AOS terrain looks great. And it's always got like a large scale piece of terrain somewhere in there, which is kind of fun. Like a ziggurat or something. I still love that the one team, I think Lumineth. I love that Lumineth get to kind of like they experience the game in a piece of terrain. Like you can have a piece of terrain that like a person goes into. I'm pretty sure it's Lumineth. It's one of them. And how does this go? It goes backward. Okay. And it basically turns the terrain into a rhino. And you just have like a sorcerer in it. Like flying around, doing spells from the safety of a giant tower. He's such a little ball. He's just a little guy. you hate him? He's such a little guy. So, one of the pieces of terrain that I swear it's the Lumineth that have this. Basically, what you can do with it, it's a deployable piece of terrain, kind of like a faction terrain. It costs points, so, you know, it's basically a points cost model. And the way it works is if there is a sorcerer within it, it's like a tower. It gains like a move speed. I might glue one of these together separately and paint it to be normal instead of knights themed. Like night fight themed. That way I can have one for the YouTube channel as like something I can use for the animated scenes and stuff. Because they look good. And it'd be funny if this was like the transformed version of Greg. No. I hate you so much, frickin' Necromunda models. So much. Keep them in the camera, but like you have to kind of hold pressure with this kind of glue to make sure it doesn't get weird. I do kind of hope we get like absolutely weird kill teams, but I doubt we'll ever get absolutely weird kill teams. Like a kill team that's just like a Biobore. You might be wondering to yourself, well, what does he have to, like, you know, work with on the field to try to get stuff? Spore mines. He starts with 6 spore mines on the field and a Biowar. He gets to hang out at the back, throwing spore mines places to get them to do things. And if they ever get in melee, they explode and potentially kill their opponent. So you have to kill them from ranged, and their explosion is like blast 4. So you got to be like very careful. And then every time you blow one up, you can pretty much just activate his Biovore and bring it back. Put it somewhere else. Boss encounter kill teams would be good, especially since there is multiplayer now. Like, not even it wouldn't even be like PvP. It would just be PvE. Like, they could drop in a White Dwarf, hey, here's the rules for a wounded Dreadnought. You and your friend are gonna try to take on a wounded Dreadnought. And it's like, oh. Yes, please. I'm gonna try to glue some of these arms a little differently. That way there's like oddity in the character silhouettes, so they're not all just the same. Ah, crap. I knew it. Stupid wrist. Dude, then it's just a gateway for them realizing they need to figure out how to merge, like, elements of Kill Team with, like, Wrath and Glory. Like, they're already getting the PvE co-op side down, right? Now imagine 4 enhanced, slightly tuned up player characters getting put against specifically statted for like a D&D style campaign enemy types. You could play really cool campaigns and everything. Like, imagine playing as a handful of Aldari trying to escape a Nurgle infestation of a planet. So there's just in Wrath and Glory, there's the elements that are conversational, right? Like there's the D&D rules of interaction and conversation that play out, of course. Now when you get into combat, it could play like how some people do D&D, where it's theater of the mind, right? But then in some more well-designed fights, you'd be looking at like actually having a table with possibly some terrain, some board stuff, you know? your characters actually hit the table. But that's the okay. So look at what Wizards of the Coast and like the tertiary companies for Dungeons and Dragons have been doing by adding miniatures to the game. They're trying to add like that elite level of playing D&D by being like, oh, get a model that represents your character, and then you know your DM might have a collection of models of enemy types, and when it comes time for combat, they roll out the mat. Or they have like a grid mat already in front of them. There's companies that do the television thing where you have like a flat screen TV laid down as a table, and you turn it on and it'll show the grid and usually like some, you know, nice little terrain pieces so that you kind of get an idea on how the terrain looks and where the enemies are, and your DM puts the thing you're fighting on the actual table. And you play to the combat rules outside of like the theater of the mind level stuff. Wrath and Glory would be the application of conversation, economy, like the stuff that makes D&D interesting. Possibly being able to talk your way out of things and like get through certain parts of the game without needing to fight and stuff like that. But then you kind of retune the characters, because that's what it sounds like co-op is. It sounds like co-op is a retuning of what you're fighting a little bit to kind of be able to be in a horde but not be overwhelming. And since they added in the pseudo like kind of AI structure, right? You at least have the opportunity to be able to run certain enemy types just as like passive. So like the DM can put them on the field, but the DM's not necessarily the one controlling it. It's more or less just running on automation. And then maybe the DM can influence it a little bit, but not quite. Like I think there was a system that one game employed where it was automation, but there was like a list of possible things it'll do, and the DM can kind of like scroll through that list and go, I think he'd do this here, and kind of run that sequence. Something like that. Like it's Wrath and Glory sounds like it is almost entirely a theater of the mind game with very little on the field. I still have to look at it. I have the starter book. And it sounds like a kind of cool structure to build a game around, but like I haven't fully peered into that veil. Put an excess of glue on so that it can actually seep into the oh god, so it can seep into the surface we're gluing it to, do its work. 15? Oh, we might be able to get decently far. But that's the thing. Most of the time when people buy this stuff, it's like when I went to go buy my book for it, I already had like Knights, Chaos. I've got a ton of Kill Teams. I think honestly, Kill Team and Wrath and Glory would be probably one of the best combos to deal with, because a lot of people who play Kill Team, I say a lot, it's a decent percentage. I wouldn't say it's everyone, because most people just want that one team and then to call it. That way they can budget better in their lives than I have. Oh, fuck. Dude, I hate Necromunda models so much. So much. Gene Stealers and Warhammer, their arms are just all one piece. You just glue them in, and you're good to go. I'm so blown away by how much I have to glue of tiny parts on these guys. And it's not even the worst. I know there's worse armies for this kind of thing. But yeah, like I have so many things. I could run a game where we're all playing like Hearthkin, and maybe we're fending off Chaos, or maybe we might can get my buddies Kabalites or something. Because he also has a whole army of dark. He has Dark Eldar, mostly Harlequins, and Blood Angels and Sisters, and I can just pull from there. We could be like, hey, we're Hearthkin, we're fighting Sisters. And then maybe some other faction pops up if we go to a different planet or something. But for the most part, we're trying to like do something in a part of the universe where the Sisters are trying to stop us. And we can just play stat blocked that way and have fun. As we grow in power, the DM could be like, all right, well, you're fighting against some tanks now. Good thing a couple of your characters have equipment that can deal with it. Yeah, but I mean, it would be cool. We could play Corsair Voidsguard. That way we could have a very big open selection of Aldari and Dark Drakari, I guess. We could pick from there. I think it could be really fun. And it just advances the universe. It gives you something else to do with all these models. Because between Kill Team, Necromunda, and all of those things, the combat side of narrative, all the way up through large-scale warfare and 40k and all that, it's kind of covered, right? Like, they've got it. They figured it out. It's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need 3. So this next one's going to be, we'll build all 4, but only one of them is going to have this, like, really big head. And that'll be my Patriarch. Because they do really need that side of, like, cerebral conversation pieces and character building on, like, a small scale. I feel like they could easily get that on top of everything else. Corsairs are difficult to pick up, but they are extremely powerful if you know what to do. That's kind of like the core of it. You need to kind of go in with a game plan. Because if you don't, you're going to be very easily screwed. Oh my god, do I only have to build one hand with this guy? I think I only have to build one hand. That's some powerful juju. Yeah, see, that's cool. Because you could explore fun story ideas. Like, imagine that group with an Aldari Warlock. Like a fledgling Aldari Warlock kind of deal. He's got like some cool Psyker powers that are Xenos in origin. And it becomes the situation where like all of them have to look at each other and realize that if they don't work together, they're dead. And it's that like overcoming kind of cultural differences. No. Whoever told you they are a beginner team, no. Holy God, no. They're glass cannons, and as anyone knows, glass cannons in any situation, you have to have the knowledge, right? Like, glass cannons are hard to deal with, because if you do it wrong, the glass part takes precedent than the cannon. So you lose too many guys, you position poorly, and get destroyed. It's over. That's the game. You're going to hate that game. Now, do it right and utilize a lot of their trickery with redeploying and all that cool stuff that they're capable of doing. Then you're good. Then you are fine. You're going to have the time of your life. It's going to be great. Is the music done? Some people consider the best starter teams in Kill Team to be very limited number elite teams because it gives you not a lot of choices while simultaneously usually giving you enough stats to not really care about what's happening. So like Legionary, Intercessor, those tend to be like the teams people point to as like, yeah, this is your starter team if you want to do it. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I'm not gonna like blame the people for giving you that advice, because it is actually kind of hard. Because in order to do this properly, I feel like you have to put yourself in other people's shoes. You cannot assume everyone knows everything. You cannot assume the people coming to your channel have been playing for a while. You cannot assume any of that. You have to actually try to write your scripts, and I screw up on this all the time. Occasionally I go back and fix it. Occasionally I let it fly, and then I'm like, oh, I really shouldn't have said that. You have to come at it from the approach of the people you're talking to are coming here because maybe they don't know what Kill Team is. Maybe they've not really played tabletop games. Maybe their friends just got into it and they're trying to join up as quickly as possible in a way where they show up to the table and they're not like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And, you know, their friends can be impressed that you showed up, pulled out your dice, set up properly, talked about your equipment properly, and they're like, whoa, what tournament did you just come from that you took first place in? Like, holy crap. And then you're just, you know, dominating. They want that. So to come at it from the approach of, oh, hi, everyone, let's talk about Kill Team as though you've been playing hundreds of hours of it, and that's it, it feels bad as a way to approach, like, all the time. Like, there's a time and place for it. I could do advanced strategy videos where I explicitly talk to people about how, like, hey, if you've been playing for a while, these might help you. And, you know, that's fine. But outside of that, kind of screwed. No, yeah. I always say that for beginners, any team that allows you to make mistakes and doesn't get in your face with too many rules is great. Because technically, Warp Coven allow for a lot of mistakes. They are one of the hardest to kill elite teams in the game. Because on average, anyone that goes against them isn't going to do enough damage to cause their armor save to be anything less than a 2+. That's scary. That is very scary. And they have I think a 5+ invuln that you can, like, sit on a wall and retain saves with. Like, they're very hard to kill. They have a lot of power right now with the free ability to, like, double shoot and stuff like that. Like, it's so crazy what they have. They can make mistakes, but they also have a ton of, like, side rules that can really throw a beginner off. Like, all the spells, needing to track who has what buff, needing to track who used what in what phases. Like, it's a lot. It is a lot. Needing to build 3 perfect sorcerers for whatever you're about to play into, or go balls in and only build 1 sorcerer and then take a ton of rubrics and figure that whole side of the game out, because that is a wild side of the game. It's a hole that I started seeing when I was looking at a lot of strategy videos that I noticed no one really talked about. Like, not a lot of people talk about visualizing threat range. I still screw up all the time with threat range. Like, I know how it's supposed to work, and then I still just don't do it. I'm still like, I'm gonna go here. And it's mostly from experience, because in 40k, if you don't know everyone's move distances and you're not keen on asking people all the time, like, is that a 10-inch move? Is that a 12? Is that a 5? Is that a 7? Then you're gonna find yourself in very bad situations very frequently, like I do. It's why I work so well in Kill Team, because you know the ranges. Like, you know the ranges. There's very little difference in range. It limits the need for knowledge of threat range. At best, at the beginning of the game, you can go, hey, who has movement shenanigans? And then see what they say. I think I'm grabbing the wrong components for this guy. Let me set these aside, because these are the other one. Let me actually, I'll cut them all out and then I'll set them aside, because I might actually build this guy for the VODs. Double check the time of my doctor's appointment. Make sure I'm not an idiot. Okay, I'm kind of an idiot. I have about maybe 15 minutes before I really should think of getting ready to go. Let me just trim. I'm going to trim all these out. We'll talk a little bit. But I can't build right now. I'll have to build later. But yeah, still, even with the, so I'm trying to get together the video where we talk about all the cool things that popped up. So, I saw on a subreddit post somewhere, someone said you can come out of conceal in turn 1. I don't remember seeing anything on that. I don't remember them saying anything about that during the game. I'm pretty sure, to my understanding, from literally what we just saw as the Warcom post, you're supposed to start the game in conceal, which would give a massive advantage to sniper units with silent. But I don't think I saw anyone come out of conceal in the test game. And I'm trying to remember, I don't remember someone actually saying while they were playing that, hey, we could come out of conceal in turn 1. Maybe they did, though. I'm not sure. I can try to rewatch turn 1 and see if somebody dropped out of conceal, but I'm pretty sure by the end of turn 1 they were all still in conceal. Also, vantage point floors giving cover now. Super sweet. Super sweet. Hopefully we have time tomorrow to do another stream and get these built. Because we need to do the brain ticks. And we need to do the gangers. The gangers are going to be neophytes. Since I need more neophytes. That way I can field a squad of 20 neophytes if I have to. There we go. And then a squad of 10. The teams look pretty good. I'm a little bit, like, I'm not too certain on how the Vespid play. Because it looks like the only thing that limits them is that they have to attack the closest target unless you pay a commune point. I don't know if it's closest visible target or if it forces you to have to pay a communion point if I, let's say, play a person forward and then put someone behind them and that person forward is in conceal and cover and then you can't shoot them. In which point you're like, I have to pay a communion point to hit the guy past him. And it's like, that's a little annoying, but maybe that is how it is. But the Imperial Guard look really strong. Like, really strong. They're going to be super annoying because of their whole we move forward and then we come down situation. That seems kind of crazy. The Vespids, though, with fly are very quick and their guns are insane and they have a lot of potential for, like, balanced and gaining all these other benefits like P1 and stuff. They are absolutely crazy for the damage, it sounds like. They're very much a ranged version of the Harlequins. They're also pretty durable, I think. I'm trying to remember. The Aquilans, I think, have 8 health, and I think the Vespids have, like, 9 or something? I thought someone said the Shade had 11. Like, they say they're glass cannon. I think they're only glass cannon in as far as their health pool, their armor save is low, but their health pools are big. Like, their armor save is 5, but they can still negate something. I'm probably going to try to power skim a little bit more of the video. I think section 1, because they talk about damages and health bars a little bit. I'm going to try to watch it a little bit while I'm trying to get my audio balanced, because that's going to be a huge thing today. I need to get my audio balanced. I tried doing like some test records yesterday, and when I applied my normal filter to it, it didn't really sound that great. Because again, all new equipment. I've got a new mixer. I've got new everything. So it's going to take a little bit longer before I get back on the track of releasing vids for you guys. So I got to get moving. Doctor's appointment coming up. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 10 Gene Stealers done. And then we have to really work up the Patriarch's base with some skulls. And we'll do that tomorrow, I think. As long as I can stream tomorrow, we'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, these guys look, they look great. They do look really cool comparatively. Like standard Gene Stealer. Focus. New. Turn off servo. Standard Gene Stealer. Malstrain. They're a little bigger in profile, which is nice. Can't tell me that I'm modeling for advantage. What's cool is with the new co-op rules coming up, we have a ton of Gene Stealers. So we can do sort of a Space Hulk system. If they keep in close quarters, we can build a close quarters map and then Space Hulk with a Gene Stealer side tack. It's like side team. But yeah, the Vespids don't use the full AI structure because as far as we can tell from reading how co-op works, the way the characters work is that they won't really do anything until you're within a certain range of them. So the Vespids aren't like held back by that. Instead, it's I think only that you have to attack the closest target, and that's it. Everything else you can do, you can just do. You can fly places. You can do what you need to in that regard, and then you have to spend communion points for capturing or performing tac ops. And I can think a couple other things that they don't normally do. Which that's going to be weird in close quarters when you're spending communion points to get them to open doors. Which, whoa. Oof. Thanks for hanging out, though. I gotta get moving. Hopefully stream tomorrow, like I've been saying. Super excited. Kill Team. I'm referring to it as 2.5 going forward because it is just 2.5. It looks like most of the rules are intact. But yeah. Got a blast. Later.